What I'm about to reveal to you was classified by the US government for over 70 years. In 2024, new documents were finally released that exposed 7 of the most disturbing experiments ever conducted on human beings. Experiments so horrific that even today, most of the details remain blacked out. These weren't rogue scientists or foreign enemies. These were official government programs funded by your tax dollars, designed to push the boundaries of human endurance, psychology, and biology. Some of these experiments are still ongoing today, hidden behind classified walls and code names that the public has never heard. Today, you're going to discover the truth about what your government has been doing in secret laboratories, underground facilities, and remote military bases. Each experiment will shock you more than the last. And the final revelation, well, it involves technology that shouldn't exist for another 50 years. So stay until the end, because what you learn could change everything you thought you knew about government transparency. Experiment 1. MK Ultra Mind Control. The first experiment on our list is MK Ultra, the CIA's mind control program that ran from 1953 to 1973. But here's what the newly declassified documents reveal. MK Ultra never actually ended. It just went deeper underground. The original program involved dosing unwitting subjects with LSD, performing psychological torture, and attempting to create Manchurian candidates, assassins who could be programmed to kill without remembering their actions. Thousands of people were subjected to these experiments, many of them patients in psychiatric hospitals who couldn't consent. But the 2024 documents reveal something even more disturbing. The CIA didn't just experiment with drugs. They developed techniques for implanting false memories, erasing specific experiences, and even controlling basic motor functions through electromagnetic manipulation. One document describes a subject who was made to believe he had lived an entirely different life for 6 months. Another details how researchers could make people perform complex tasks while having no memory of doing them. The most chilling part? The document is dated 2019, proving these experiments continued long after MK Ultra was supposedly shut down. Experiment 2. Project Artichoke. Human Breaking Points. Experiment number 2 is Project Artichoke, designed to determine exactly how much psychological and physical torture a human being could endure before their mind completely broke. The newly released files reveal techniques so brutal that even hardened CIA operatives refused to participate. The project involved subjecting prisoners to extreme sensory deprivation, prolonged stress positions, and psychological manipulation designed to shatter their sense of reality. But what makes this even more disturbing is that many of the subjects weren't enemy combatants. They were American citizens who had been secretly detained. One document describes a technique called reality dissolution, where subjects were kept in complete darkness for months while being fed false information about the outside world. They were told their families had died, that nuclear war had broken out, or that they had been imprisoned for decades when it had only been weeks. The 2024 releases show that artichoke techniques were used as recently as 2018, with new methods involving virtual reality to create completely artificial traumatic experiences that feel absolutely real to the subject. Experiment 3, Unit 731, Collaboration. The third experiment involves one of the darkest secrets in American history, our government's collaboration with Japanese Unit 731, the biological warfare unit that conducted horrific experiments during World War II. While it's been known that the US granted immunity to Unit 731 scientists in exchange for their research, the 2024 documents reveal that this collaboration continued for decades after the war ended. American scientists worked directly with former Unit 731 researchers to develop biological weapons and test them on unwitting subjects. The files describe experiments involving the deliberate infection of prisoners with deadly diseases, exposure to chemical weapons, and surgical procedures performed without anesthesia. But what's most shocking is that these experiments weren't conducted in Japan. They happened on American soil, in secret facilities across the United States. One document details how researchers infected an entire prison population with a modified strain of tuberculosis to study how quickly it would spread. Another describes experiments where subjects were exposed to nerve agents to test new antidotes. The mortality rate for these experiments was over 60%. Experiment 4, Project Stargate, Psychic Warfare. Experiment number 4 is Project Stargate, the government's attempt to weaponize psychic abilities for military purposes. While this program was supposedly shut down in 1995, the new documents reveal it not only continued, but achieved results that defy scientific explanation. The original Stargate program involved training remote viewers who could allegedly see distant locations using only their minds. The government spent millions of dollars on this research, claiming it was unsuccessful. But the 2024 files tell a different story. Documents describe remote viewers who could accurately describe classified military installations they had never seen, predict enemy troop movements with 90% accuracy, and even influence electronic equipment from thousands of miles away. One file details how a remote viewer was able to disable a Soviet satellite simply by focusing on it mentally, but here's where it gets truly disturbing. The documents reveal that the government has been secretly recruiting people with natural psychic abilities since the 1970 seconds. These individuals are taken to classified facilities where their abilities are enhanced through a combination of drugs, electromagnetic stimulation, and psychological conditioning. Experiment 5, Genetic Enhancement Programs. The fifth experiment involves genetic enhancement programs that sound like science fiction but are terrifyingly real. The 2024 documents reveal that the government has been conducting genetic experiments on human subjects for over 30 years, attempting to create enhanced soldiers with superhuman abilities. These experiments involve injecting subjects with modified viruses designed to alter their DNA, exposing them to radiation to trigger beneficial mutations, and even implanting animal genes to enhance strength, speed, and sensory abilities. The success rate is low, but the results in successful subjects are extraordinary. One document describes a subject who developed the ability to see in complete darkness after being injected with genes from nocturnal animals. Another details a soldier whose bone density increased by 400% after genetic modification, making him virtually bulletproof. But for every success, dozens of subjects died or were left permanently disabled. The most disturbing revelation is that these experiments are still ongoing, with new subjects being recruited from military volunteers who believe they're participating in routine medical studies. Experiment 6, Time Perception Manipulation. Experiment number 6 involves something that sounds impossible: the manipulation of human time perception. The newly declassified documents reveal that government scientists have developed techniques to make subjects experience time at dramatically different rates. Using a combination of drugs, electromagnetic fields, and sensory manipulation, researchers can make minutes feel like hours or hours feel like minutes. The applications for interrogation and psychological warfare are obvious, but the documents reveal even more sinister uses. One file describes how subjects were made to experience what felt like years of imprisonment in just a few days, completely breaking their psychological resistance. Another details how soldiers were given the perception of having months to react in combat, situations that lasted only seconds. But the most chilling document describes an experiment where a subject was made to experience an entire lifetime, childhood, adulthood, old age, and death, in just 24 hours. When the experiment ended, the subject had to be institutionalized because they couldn't distinguish between their real memories and the artificially implanted lifetime. Experiment 7, Consciousness Transfer. The final and most shocking experiment involves the transfer of human consciousness between bodies. The 2024 documents reveal that government scientists have successfully moved the consciousness of one person into the body of another, effectively achieving a form of immortality. The process involves mapping the complete neural structure of a subject's brain and then implanting that pattern into a different brain. Early experiments used animal subjects, but the files show that human trials began in 2015. One document describes how the consciousness of a terminally ill scientist was successfully transferred into the body of a brain-dead patient. The transferred consciousness retained all memories, personality traits, and knowledge from the original body. But there were side effects. The transferred consciousness could access some memories from the host body, creating a disturbing hybrid personality. The implications are staggering. If this technology is perfected, death could become optional for those with access to it. But the documents also reveal the dark side. The government has been using this technology to preserve the consciousness of valuable assets, creating a secret army of immortal agents whose original bodies died decades ago. These 7 experiments represent just the tip of the iceberg. The 2024 document releases contained thousands of pages, most of them heavily redacted. What we've seen suggests that our government has been conducting research that pushes the boundaries of human ethics and scientific possibility. The question isn't whether these experiments happened. The documents prove they did. The question is what else is still hidden, and how far are they willing to go in the name of national security? If this video opened your eyes to the truth about government experimentation, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell, because there's so much more to uncover. And let me know in the comments, which of these experiments shocked you the most?